Hello guys, welcome to yet another wonderful session of learning with Prepclass. My name is Mr. Olalikun Israel and I am a Prepclass tutor. I am so excited to be on your screens once again as I know that this session will be a fun and educative one. Now, in today's video, we will be answering questions 1 to 5 from the English WAEC Past Questions Year 2020 edition. Now, the purpose of this session is to guide you on how to answer similar questions like these ones in WAEC examinations. So, without wasting much time, let's get down to the business of today. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you can have free access to numerous educational materials like these ones. Now, section 1. The instruction reads, in each of the following sentences, there is one underlined word and one gap. From the list of words lettered A to D, choose the one that is most nearly opposite. Choose the one that is most nearly opposite in meaning to the underlined word and that will, at the same time, correctly fill the gap in the sentence. Now, this is what is required of us. We have to select a word that most nearly means the opposite of the underlined word in the sentence. Now, at the same time, this word we are selecting has to fill in the blank space in the sentence appropriately. So question 1 reads, a guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but dash statements. Now, the underlined word in this sentence is derogatory. Remember, we have to select the word that means the opposite of the underlined word in this sentence, which is derogatory. And that word we are selecting has to fill in the blank space in the sentence appropriately. So, the options we have are candid, appealing, polite, and complimentary. Now, the first thing to do is to define the word derogatory. What does the word derogatory mean? Now, the word derogatory means to belittle or lessen the value of someone or something. I'll go over that again. The word derogatory means to belittle or lessen the value of someone or something. Take, for example, you go to someone's house, the person offers you a meal after spending so much time to prepare the meal. And after eating the meal, all you could say was, the seasoning in this food was too much. Don't you know how to cook? Now, that is an example of a derogatory remark. That remark has belittled that person's effort. It has lessened the value of that person. We are not expected to make derogatory remarks about people, about our hosts. So the answer to this question is complimentary. If you're not making derogatory remarks about someone, if you're not making statements that will belittle or lessen the value of someone, you are making complimentary statements. What is the meaning of the word complimentary? Now, the word complimentary means to give a compliment or to praise. The word complimentary means to give a compliment or to praise, to encourage or to respect. Now, I'm going to refer back to that scenario we painted earlier. Where you go to somebody's house, the person spent judicious time preparing a meal for you, and after eating the meal, all the person could say was, don't you know how to cook? The seasoning in this meal was too much. Now, instead of saying such things, instead of making such derogatory remarks, you make complimentary remarks like, thanks for the meal. It was very delicious. Now, this is an example of a complimentary statement. It does not belittle, it does not lessen the value of someone or someone's effort. It compliments, it praises, it encourages, it respects someone or someone's effort. So the answer to this question is complimentary. Now, it is not candid, because candid means to be straightforward, to be sincere, or to be impartial. Now, this is not the opposite of derogatory, because derogatory does not mean to be partial. It is not appealing, because appealing means to be attractive. Now, this is also not the opposite of derogatory, because derogatory does not mean being unattractive. It's not polite, because polite means to be well-mannered or to be civilized. This is not the opposite of derogatory, because derogatory does not mean that you are uncivilized. The answer to this question is complimentary. A guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but complimentary moving on to the next question, we have the commander said that the raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies. He needed dash men. Now, the underlined word in this sentence is raw. Remember, we have to select the option that means the opposite of the underlined word and will at the same time occupy the position of the blank space in the sentence. I'll read the question again. The commander said that the raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies. He needed dash men. The options we have are skilled, practical, learned, and seasoned. Now, the first thing to do is to define the word raw. Now, the word raw has numerous meanings, which includes not cooked. Going to the market to get fresh meat, that is a raw meat. It is not cooked. It means not treated or processed. It means to be bare. It means to be inexperienced and so on. But in this context of use, in this sentence, raw means to be new or inexperienced. Now imagine yourself as a commander. The commander said that raw recruits, that is new or inexperienced recruits, could not dislodge the enemies. It needed dash men. Now the answer to this question is seasoned. Remember, raw means to be what? New or inexperienced. But when we say the commander said that the raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies, it needed dash men. It needed seasoned men. What is the meaning of the word seasoned? The word seasoned in this context means to be experienced. People that have gone to war over time, they are experienced, they are seasoned. So depending on the kind of enemies you have, you would not need raw recruits, you would not need new or inexperienced recruits, you would need seasoned men, experienced men. Now it is not skilled, because skilled means to possess special and required qualities. Now, you can actually be skilled and inexperienced, because you can actually pick up a skill and probably you're just new at the skill. You have not even garnered experience. So you can be skilled and be inexperienced at the same time. Skilled is not the answer to this question. It's not practical, because practical means to be based on practice or action, being likely to be effective. Now, this is not the opposite of raw, because raw does not mean something that is impractical. No. It is not learned, because learned means to be knowledgeable or highly educated. Now, this is not the opposite of raw. Raw in this context of use means to be new or inexperienced. So the opposite of raw here that can actually fill the space correctly and appropriately is seasoned. The commander said that the raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies. He needed seasoned men. So the answer to this question is seasoned. The commander said that the raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies. He needed seasoned men. So very quickly, moving on to the next question, we have question 3, and it reads, John gave a fictitious account of the incident, but his son's account was dash. Remember, we have to select the option that means the opposite of the underlined word and will at the same time fill in the blank space appropriately. So the first thing we have to do is to define the word fictitious. Remember, the options we have are probable, compelling, factual, and necessary. So what is the meaning of the word fictitious? The word fictitious means to be unreal. Something that is a fiction, something that is imagined or invented. John gave an imagined account of the incident, an invented account of the incident, an unreal account of the incident, but his son's account was factual. Now, the opposite of fictitious is factual. If it is not unreal, it is real. Something that is real is factual. Now, factual means to be characterized by facts, to be real. John gave a fictitious account. John gave an unreal account, but the son's account was factual. It is real. It is characterized by facts. Now, it is not probable, because probable means to be likely to be true or possible. Now, emphasis on likely. It is not true. There is a possibility. So probable is not the answer to this question. It is not compelling, because compelling means requiring urgent attention or being forceful. When you are compelling, you are applying force on someone to carry out an action. Now, this is not the opposite of fictitious. It is not necessary, because necessary means to be needed, to be required, to be important, or inevitable. Now, the answer to this question is factual. John gave a fictitious account of the incident, but his son's account was factual. John gave an unreal account of the incident, but his son's account was real. Moving on to the next question. Question 4, we have, let me move to the next question quickly. Question 4, we have, while the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a dash smell. Remember, we have to select the word that means the opposite of the underlined word, and will at the same time correctly fill in the blank space in the sentence. While the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a dash smell. The underlined word here in this sentence is fetid. The options we have are fragrant, spicy, clean, and dry. The first thing to do is to define the word fetid. Now, the word fetid means to be foul smelling or to be stinking. While the refuse dump was foul smelling, the orchard exuded a fragrant smell. That is the answer to this question. Now, this is the answer to this question. If the refuse dump had a terrible smell, a stinking smell, that means the orchard exuded a fragrant smell. What is the meaning of fragrant? The word fragrant means having a pleasant smell. You can see that this is the opposite of fetid. Fetid means foul smelling. Fragrant means having a pleasant smell. So while the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a fragrant smell. It is not spicy, because spicy means to contain spice. It is like having a food, eating a food that is very, very spicy. Now, this is not the opposite of fetid. Spicy can also mean to have a strong odor. Now, odor is a terrible smell. It is not clean, because clean means to be free of dirt or to be pure. Now, this is not the opposite of fetid, because fetid does not mean to be impure. It is not dry, because dry means to be free from liquid or moisture. So the answer to this question is fragrant. While the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a fragrant smell. Quickly, let me move on to the next slide so we can have our next question. Question 5 reads, only some of the accused were acquitted. The rest were dashed. Remember, we have to select the option that means the opposite of the underlined word and will appropriately occupy the position of the blank space in the sentence. The options we have are remanded, convicted, detained, and interdicted. Now, the first thing to do is to define acquitted. The word acquitted means to be declared innocent or to find not guilty. To be declared innocent or to find not guilty. Only some of the accused were found not guilty. The rest were convicted. Convicted is the answer to this question. Now, what is the meaning of the word convicted? The word convicted means to find guilty. Now, remember, acquitted means to find not guilty. But convicted means what? To be found guilty. Convicted means having been declared guilty of a criminal offense by the verdict of the jury or the decision of a judge. Now, it is not remanded, because remanded means to be sent back what? To custody. Now, this is not the opposite of acquitted. It is not detained, because detained means to keep from proceeding or to put in custody. Now, this is not the opposite of acquitted. It is not interdicted, because interdicted means to prohibit or to forbid. The answer to this question is convicted. Only some of the accused were acquitted. Only some of the accused were found not guilty. So if you were found not guilty, they will be released. The rest were convicted. Only some of the accused were acquitted. The rest were convicted. Acquitted means what? To be found not guilty. Convicted means what? To be found guilty. And with that, we've come to the end of this wonderful session. I believe you have learned something in this session. So, without wasting much time, I would like you to quickly subscribe to our channel, like, comment, also share with your friends. Please and please and please. We would love to have you watch our next content. Alright, thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name remains Mr. Olaleko Israel.